Now, Eyewitness Sports.
Welcome to Double OT with Ruthie Polinsky. I'm Yanni Crocus. It's been a long time since we've done one of this. It's that time of the year. Football season's here. Baseball. We had a big Celtics week, so we got a lot to get to. You ready?
Ready.
Want to flash those sneaks? All right, 1 week from today, Patriots. there they are. Patriots training camp. Super Bowl champs. I sometimes forget that they won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But it's such a different vibe coming off a Super Bowl than coming off a losing Super Bowl.
100%. And now you and I have both experienced both scenarios.
Yeah, and it's just, there's less anxiety, I feel like.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, what are the biggest camp storylines for you heading into next week? Or the biggest?
You know, I didn't have a ton of time to think about these questions before we dove into this, but I kind of like being put on the spot. It feels like there's a lot of newness, and maybe that's because we're expecting, the Gronk absence. So we're just kind of trying to see who's going to be the guy, who's going to be Brady's, maybe go-to. I think that's going to be kind of interesting. I'm excited to see how N'Keal Harry looks, 100%. Like, I just am excited to see this, freak of nature just kind of, be a monster. So I think that's exciting for me. Obviously, where will Brady's level be? He's 1 year older. We all know that. So can we, even use a larger microscope to kind of, dissect his game and, is that related to his age? I think that's also going to be interesting. What do you think?
I'm really excited for N'Keal Harry.
Yeah.
First time the Patriots have taken a wide receiver in the first round in this Belichick era. He looks like a game changer.
Yeah.
He's big, he's strong, he's tall. He's been invited to the Brady Palace to work out. So I think he has the keys to sort of be the next Brady go-to guy. And with Gronk out, he's going to be getting a lot of these red zone targets.
Sure.
Also, I wrote down a couple others. We're going to talk about Gronk in a second. I don't know how much we're going to figure this out in training camp, but the Patriots don't have a defensive coordinator. So we have to check it out at camp. Is Belichick strictly going to be with the defensive guys? Is he still going to bop around? What I really appreciate about Belichick in all these years as a head coach, he still goes to the nitty-gritty lineman groups and gets down and puts his hand in the dirt. He still coaches hands-on. But I wonder, throughout camp, are we just going to see him with defense? Because I think everyone sort of thinks he's the defensive coordinator.
Right. I guess the other option is for him to kind of disperse the responsibilities amongst his,
and then
assistants.
he maybe calls the plays and, I don't know.
That is a good. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
And Jarrett Stidham, the quarterback, I think we all, with our own eyes, saw Danny Etling last year and we're like, this guy he's not the guy.
Yeah.
So maybe he pops.
Right. It's always exciting to see a young, fresh blood, kind of there behind Brady.
You mentioned the Brady age thing. Not that we're over the age thing, but I feel like if he keeps winning Super Bowls, how can you even be like, he's 42 this year? Remember last year he was only 41. What changes in a year's time?
Another storyline I just thought of is kind of the health of Sony Michel. I guess he was kind of absent for a little bit,
Yeah, no mini camp. I don't know if he did OTAs, I forget.
I don't think so. I think the whole story was that he was going to be ready for training camp. So I think that's also interesting because he was so crucial to their success last year and their commitment to really him and running the ball.
And they, drafted a kid out of Alabama, Damian Harris. So if he's Sony, if you're running back in New England, you got to fight for those rushes because they're not given to you. So if he's out of the mix,
James White. You love James White so much.
Sweet feet.
Legend.
So,
all right, next question. All right, so this kind of seamlessly transitions us into will Gronk come back? Obviously, there's been kind of this rumor mill surrounding, the tight end situation. I was committed to my decision of he's done, he's out, and I said that he was going to be done halfway through last year. I was like, he's done after this year.
Yeah, I had him done all of last year.
I was like, pretty much he's out. I saw him in person at the Julian Edelman movie premiere, and the rumors are true. He's lost a lot of weight. He looks very thin. Does that mean that he couldn't get back into football shape if he tried? Absolutely not. I think he's more than prepared and has the resources to be able to do so. But what really put me over the top about him maybe making an appearance this year was the SB's off camera joking with Drew Brees, saying, yeah, I'm coming back. And then, of course, we hear that he worked out with Brady. caught balls from Brady. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Brady was like, hey, I'm in the area, let's hang out, I'm going to work out? But, I highly doubt that Gronk was just like catching balls for fun. If you're done, if you're retired, a lot of guys, when they retire, they're done. They're done with football. They're over it. Like, if he's still around the game.
Here's the thing. Rob Gronkowski is doing a million commercials, appearances. He's at the ESPYs. He's doing this and he's doing that. But since he's 12 years old, this time of year, he's been playing football. So that yearn for the routine of playing football is going to come back. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to come back, not now, but October or November. And if Bill Belichick was smart, this isn't Bill Belichick's MO to be like, hey, retire, come back, retire, come back. But if Bill Belichick's smart, this is a guy who's been in the team for 9-10 years. He could seamlessly start coming back, and I think Belichick will realize that Ben Watson and whoever else at tight end isn't Rob Gronkowski. So I think he could seamlessly come back October, November, like he would have if he was coming back from an injury. So I think there's sort of an arrangement in place if he wants to come back. I think he will come back. I don't think it's 100%, but I'm leaning that way. And if Tom Brady is smart, he's going to try to be like, hey, let's play catch. Like, keep it top of mind for Gronk so that, like, if he gets the itch, he wants to come back.
I think what really is an interesting point that has been noted by other people, but this is Rob Gronkowski we're talking about, one of the most iconic Patriots of all time. You're not going to give him a send-off. You're not going to hold a press conference and, like, fare him bidwell and, like, best wishes. Thanks for all you've done.
They did that for Rob Ninkovich, who, God bless, Rob Ninkovich was a good player, won a couple of Super Bowls, but wasn't Gronk.
So the door has been left open, which I think is a very interesting point. My other where I wobble on this issue is you need to prepare like he's not coming back. So there needs to be someone there. You can't,
Yeah, it's an added bonus. You can't prepare for this season thinking Gronk's going to come back. But it's going to be different at camp without him there.
Absolutely.
His big, bubbly personality.
It's sad. Sorry, before we change topics. He's not doing any media. He didn't do any media at the Julian Edelman thing. He avoided us at all costs, and I think he's avoiding the question.
He's still like at the head shaving thing. That's why his hair is so short in this picture. He fielded. I think it's just like what. Everyone's like, you come back, and he's like, I don't know. It's just like there's no point in asking. It's just ongoing. All right, we're switching gears. You were at the Kemba Walker, Enes Kanter presser for the Celtics yesterday. One of the big topics is Danny Ainge saying it was their plan A, which I don't think anyone believes, but he sort of hedged his bet by saying after the draft. He went on Toucher and Rich this morning, or even said yesterday by March, April, he had a feeling Kyrie was leaving. The question is, will these two work for the Celtics? But where the Celtics landed with these two based on wanting Kyrie, wanting Anthony Davis, maybe any other Kawhi or other free agents out there, and getting these two. How are you feeling as a Celtics
So my biggest takeaway from the press conference was that these two are great players. We know that, but they're culture guys. They are elite culture people who are there to make the locker room better, which is the polar opposite of what the Celtics had to deal with last year. I have a great story about Kemba Walker that I think emulates his personality, and it's no secret that I have sources close to the UConn, personnel. But there's a great story that I think Calhoun has passed on to, people in the media and on the coaching staff that after the 2010 UConn team, they won the Maui Invitational. Kemba Walker had 29 points, and then 30 points when they upset Michigan State. And Kemba Walker walks onto the bus and is holding the Maui Invitational Championship trophy. And the entire bus, his whole teammates and staff, stands up and gives him a standing ovation and cheering for him and rooting for him. And Jim Calhoun looked at his team and he looked at Kemba Walker and he said, that's when I knew he was special, and that's when I knew our team was special. And then they went on and won the national championship at 2011. I think that's a perfect story to just kind of emulate the kind of person he is and how people feel about him, but also the kind of player he is.
Do you think he's going to come in and try to be the alpha dog?
No, his whole point yesterday was I don't talk a lot. It was kind of like I lead by example, and I work hard, and if I'm working hard, you guys probably should be too. It seems like he has a good relationship with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. He was just in traveling with Jason Tatum. Jason just signed with the Jordan brand, which is Kemba's Michael Jordan, whatever. So
he just left as his owner in Charlotte.
And then Enes Kanter just complimented him beautifully there during the press conference. His personality and his ability to laugh at himself and laugh at things. It's a game. And we forget that so many times, and that's what he kind of reminded us. This is just fun, and you need to be in the locker room. He said this to us. He said, you need to be in the locker room after a tough loss and lift everyone up, put a smile on people's face. Like, this is a game.
Yeah, Enes Kanter's had bigger things going on in his life that basketball is just a game.
Right.
Listen, a month ago, the season is over. If you told me they'd have Kemba Walker and Enes Kanter, I would feel better today than I did then. If you told me 6 months ago, or maybe that's a bad example, a year ago, when we're like, all right, Kyrie's coming back, Al Horford, the whole gang, I wouldn't feel as good. That being said, the East is wide open. Milwaukee will be the prohibitive favorite, but Philly's probably above them, but you're there in the 3 seed if you mesh with these guys. I think Kemba mentioned yesterday that he wants to have a good relationship with his coach. He embraces coaching. Obviously, we know Brad Stevens is a good coach. If he can get all these guys to coexist, one of the big issues last year, Ruthie, was there wasn't enough shots for everyone.
Right.
So once they sort of figure out the amount of shots everyone's getting in everyone's role, I think it'll work out. Who's the last shot guy? At this point, probably Kemba or Jason Tatum, but yeah, I think they're going to work. I mean, listen, Kanter's not great defensively, but they needed a big body down there. Yeah. He was like 18 and 8 last year. He won't get that many points, but having a big guy down there will be huge because it's he and we don't know about Taco Fall or Robert Williams, and then just like a bunch of guys who are like 6'7".
Right. This French guy, Poirier. I think with Kemba, it's going to be an adjustment for him just learning kind of how to maybe share the ball in a different way because he hasn't had those tools around him to be able to do so. So that could be an adjustment. But it doesn't seem like he's a guy that really cares how many shots he's taking. Right. So I think that's something that's interesting. He did say something he likes about Brad Stevens' style of coaching yesterday is that his point guards score a lot. And he was kind of joking in the moment, but I think he's going to be able to get his own and also share with guys and make them better. It's just all about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. We're forgetting how young these guys are, and Kemba Walker's been in the league 8 years. He knows a lot, and he can lift these guys up and make them better.
And last year, guys that needed shots included Marcus Morris and Terry Rozier. Obviously, Kyrie, Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Now it's really just Kemba, Tatum, and Brown that need shots.
Right.
So I don't think it'll be as hard.
Kanter was joking. He's been working on his shooting because Brad was like, that was kind of his weakness. He was like, I didn't think that he could shoot well, but I saw him working out here the other day, and he looks pretty good.
There you go.
So I like that a lot. All right, switching gears to Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will the Red Sox make the playoffs?
You say no?
No.
You don't like this question?
No, I'm saying they won't make the playoffs.
I think they'll get in as the second wild card, which doesn't require a lot. They're right in the thick of it right now. Some encouraging signs this week. Chris Sale today, as we tape this, just wrapped up his first home win. It only took him a July 18th. Nicely done, Chris Sale. Rafael Devers on a tear. Bogarts is on a tear. Mookie is starting to hit more. And we're going to talk about Eovaldi in a second, but it's sort of just by default.
I know.
They're not going to catch the Yankees. They probably won't catch the Rays, so I guess you hope it's the Sox and Rays in the wild card game. But I'll be optimistic here. Their offense is so good. If they can just get better starting pitching and the bullpen is sort of shored up a little with Eovaldi, then I think they can get to 92 wins or whatever it requires to be a wild card team.
They're still beating bad teams.
That's true.
And struggling against bad teams. So if they get the second wild card spot, they're not going to win that series.
I'm not saying they're going far.
They're not going to win that game. So, I'm just, I don't think that, I don't know.
No playoffs.
And what I think is an underrated value of the Eovaldi thing, which again we'll talk about in a second, is you're still losing a starter that was supposed to be a starter that you're paying a lot of money.
It's a really
and Cashner got
circuitous route to shore up your pitching by having bringing Andrew Cashner as a starter. Eovaldi's a better starter than him technically, so you're having a lesser starter to shore up the closer. If you had just got a closer in the first place, you wouldn't have any of these issues.
Right.
This is the bad Dave Dombrowski that's coming to a head here.
Yeah.
I remember in 2013 when I covered that Red Sox team, the Tigers had this unbelievable lineup, and it was like their bullpen that there was their downfall, and everyone's like, this team's so talented. They had David Price, and they had Max Scherzer as starters, and they had Prince Fielder and all these great hitters, and it was just like, oh, the bullpen. You never want the bullpen to kill you, but maybe it will for the this is a average team, above average. They're not great. They're not going to go far.
They should be, which is why it's so frustrating, because there was just really wasn't anything that happened other than not having a closer. And so it's frustrating, especially to see Chris Sale struggle sans today.
If he gets it together. All right, Nathan Eovaldi, you saw him in Pawtucket today. He is being crowned the next Red Sox closer. This was sort of out of necessity. Obviously, know what he did in the World Series last year and coming on after the trade deadline. Will he solve the Sox closer issues?
He looked so good today, and he was throwing gas. I mean, like 98 out of the gate against minor leaguers. But his stuff looked good. He was throwing hard, and he was hitting his spots, and I think he looked really good. I think if you need him in the ninth, like, he's going to get the job done. And I think what Billy McMillan said after the game was, like, that's going to be an adjustment for a lot of teams to have to deal with him as the closer. I think what he meant kind of at this point in the season to kind of like figure out how to adjust your game plan in terms of like Eovaldi coming in as the closer.
Do we think he's going to do some like 5-out saves? Or is he like, some closers like, I need a clean ninth. I'm coming in from ninth.
I don't know. He had a little
fresh. I mean, he's coming off an elbow thing.
Yeah, loose bodies.
But he's fresh.
Right. He looks good. What do you think?
Will it work? Yeah, better than whatever they're doing now. Brazier was sent down.
I saw him today.
Workman, was it last night or 2 nights ago, giving you agita that he's not going to make the save.
Although he has been pitching relatively well.
None of those.
Right.
I like the old days where it's like you had your 7th inning guy, your 8th inning guy, your closer, and it just seems like it's a free-for-all. But yes, I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, it should work. Will he work as a closer? Yes. Will it make the Red Sox maybe that much better? Not sure.
It's a desperate move for desperate measures, but it's crazy how we got to this point. Yeah. You signed him for big money to be a starter this year, and then he gets hurt, and now you're paying him this money, and he's your closer. It's just so...
Right. Especially with the success that he's had against the Yankees, like, you want him to start against the Yankees if you need him to.
All right, 2 minutes. What's our last one? We got Price, Eckersley.
Right.
Who do you have in this beef? I have Eckersley.
Same.
All right, so listen, he was in a Boston Globe article talking about his drug use and alcohol and his Hall of Fame career. This is Dennis Eckersley. Was asked about the Price thing and said, I probably won't see or talk to him again. Pretty much the status of their relationship. David Price asked about it, could have been like, yeah, Eck and I, like, we're done.
Yeah.
Boom. And then he starts attacking Eckersley, saying none of his teammates like him. No one vouches for him. We get that you don't like Dennis Eckersley, but it's Price opening these can of worms, and he's wrong. Eckersley is universally liked.
Right.
So now Price, who should have been the World Series MVP, holds all the cards, was making amends with Red Sox Nation, is now becoming this agitator, the guy that a lot of Red Sox fans and media types disliked for this very reason.
Right. And it just shows that, we kind of maybe gave him a pass for all the a-hole things he said, back in the day, before he was so great in the playoffs last year. And now it seems like that pass is just like, no one even cares that you're the best pitcher on the Red Sox right now because the Red Sox stink. And so you have no room to talk. It's not, it just feels so outlandish and out of line and unnecessary. It's stirring the pot and it's drama.
He felt like he was attacked, but he really wasn't.
He wasn't. I think Eck said what he needed to say. You have to ask Eck. If you're going to sit down and you want to, this was a big storyline for David Price and the whole storyline of the Red Sox, and you have to ask a question about David Price. Eck, I think, had a great, we're done.
And if you polled Red Sox fans, who do you back more? Eckersley's pretty beloved. I don't know. Price is key to them winning a World Series and pitching well this year, but it's like it's just his way.
Right.
It's just a little agitating, and just his whole thing is like, oh, I don't care what people think. I'm just going to do me, defend. And I'm sure he has some teammates, because Eckersley's critical on NESN of some of their performances.
Sure.
And I think he said Eckersley, 5 pitches into a game is talking about 1975 and not the game at hand, but it's like, that's probably an exaggeration. He's probably talking about 1975, 4 hours into a baseball game that's not over yet,
right?
Because you guys take 4 hours and 30 minutes to finish 9 innings of baseball, for crying out loud. Literally barely finished for the 11 o'clock news last night. There was a bit of a rain delay. And all week, it's not done for the sports wrap.
You've been really just upset with that, frustrated. We have had a bunch of rain delays, I feel like, lately.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think they average the longest games in baseball. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Apparently, Tim White needs the studio.
Ooh, much more important than we are.
Doing Tim White things. All right, we're going to try to get back into a weekly routine here with the Patriots back in session. Catch us on iTunes, on WPRI.com.
Google Play. For all our Android users.
And your favorite social media feeds. Thanks.